Jai Gurudev, Namaste Rishi Nityapragyaji. It is an honor to have you with us to discuss the profound teachings of the Yoga Vasistha. Could you please provide an introduction to what this sacred text is about? Jai Gurudev, Namaste. The Yoga Vasistha is an ancient spiritual text that presents a dialogue between Sage Vasistha and Prince Rama. It explores the nature of reality, the mind, and the self, offering profound insights into the human condition and the path to liberation. The text delves into the illusion of the material world and provides a roadmap for attaining self realization and ultimate freedom from the cycle of birth and death. One of the teachings in the Yoga Vasistha is that ignorance causes suffering and must be eradicated. How can we understand this in the context of our daily lives? Ignorance or avidya is the root cause of all suffering because it obscures our true nature, which is blissful and eternal. In our daily lives, ignorance manifests as identification with the body, mind, and external circumstances, leading to desires, attachments, and aversions. To eradicate ignorance, we need to cultivate wisdom, jnana, through self inquiry, meditation, and understanding the impermanent nature of worldly phenomenon. Just as a forest drenched by rain cannot be ignited by fire, a mind soaked in wisdom remains unaffected by the flames of suffering. That analogy beautifully illustrates the concept. The Yoga Vasistha also mentions that wise individuals cross the ocean of worldly existence quickly with the boat of wisdom. How can you elaborate on this metaphor? Indeed, the ocean of worldly existence symbolizes the endless cycles of birth, death, and rebirth filled with desires, fears, and suffering. The boat of wisdom, Jnana Yukti, represents the knowledge of the self and the understanding of the impermanent nature of the world. Wise individuals use this boat to swiftly navigate and transcend the ocean, reaching the shores of liberation and eternal bliss. It is a reminder that true freedom comes not from external achievements but from inner realization. How does one attain this ultimate bliss and liberation described as nirvana in the text? Nirvana or supreme bliss is achieved through self-knowledge and the dissolution of the ego. The Yoga Vasistha teaches that liberation is attained by realizing the non-dual nature of the self, which is beyond the mind and senses. This realization comes through deep meditation, self-inquiry, and the guidance of a realized master. Once the mind is purified and the ego is dissolved, one experiences the true essence of the self, leading to eternal peace and the cessation of the cycle of rebirth. The text emphasizes that mere rituals and pilgrimages are insufficient for crossing the ocean of worldly existence. What is the significance of this teaching? Rituals and pilgrimages can be beneficial, but they are external practices and often do not address the root cause of ignorance. The Yoga Vasistha highlights that true liberation comes from inner transformation and self-knowledge. While external practices can prepare and purify the mind, they cannot substitute the direct experience of the self. The only way to transcend suffering and attain lasting peace is through the realization of one's true nature. It is clear that self-knowledge is central to the teachings of the Yoga Vasistha. How does this knowledge alleviate all suffering? Self-knowledge reveals the illusory nature of the world and the mind, showing us that we are not a limited body or mind but the infinite consciousness. This understanding dissolves all fears, desires, and attachments, which are the sources of suffering. Just as the sun dispels darkness, the light of self-knowledge dispels the darkness of ignorance, leading to inner peace and freedom from all suffering. Lastly, what practical steps can one take to begin their journey towards self-knowledge and liberation, as outlined in the Yoga Vasistha? The journey towards self-knowledge begins with a sincere desire for truth and a willingness to question our assumptions about reality. Practically, one can start by self-inquiry. Regularly reflect on the question, who am I? To go beyond superficial identities, meditation. Cultivate a meditation practice to calm the mind and experience the inner silence. Study and reflections. Study spiritual texts like the Yoga Vasistha and contemplate their teachings. Seek guidance. Find a knowledgeable teacher or guide who can provide direction and support in living ethically. Live a life of virtue and detachment, aligning actions with higher principles. These practices help purify the mind and prepare it for the ultimate realization of the self. Thank you, Rishi Nityapragyaji, for sharing these profound insights from the Yoga Vasistha with us. Your words have illuminated the path for many of us seeking inner peace and liberation. It was my pleasure. May the light of self-knowledge guide everyone on their journey to liberation and eternal bliss. Namaste, Jai Gurudev.